Okay, before I fire up this chainsaw, I'm going to address this issue of this nurse limb. I had many comments and people asking about why I left a long limb on some of those trees that we were grafting. And I'm going to tell you. It's called a nurse limb. Some people call it a feeder limb or a bleeder limb. But in the spring, when the soil warms up, it gets above 50 degrees or about 50 degrees. These trees start moving. In other words, sap starts to come up. And when we've grafted, we do not want to flood those grafts. And when there's a huge root system, as there is under that tree because it had a large canopy, we cut that off, then that sap has nowhere to go. And it comes up and it can flood the grafts. Now, this is more of an issue with apples. It's not such an issue with cherries, but where there's a nurse limb, I leave it, and that's what this is. And that gives that excess sap a place to go. And it'll come out here and these limbs will just sucker up like crazy, and that way we don't flood the grafts. Now, it's really not that big an issue with cherry trees because we graft cherry trees so early in the spring, and we actually want the grafts to take before the sap starts flowing, and that's a mistake people make with grafting cherries. If they try to go too late, the grafts die, and that's part of the problem is that flooding, that sap coming up. Now on apples, the nurse limb is more critical, not on young trees because you don't have as much root system, you don't have as much sap coming up from the roots. But on older apple trees, you always want to leave a nurse limb, about 20% of the original canopy. So a limb or two, you usually do the trick, and that gives that sap a place to go. And it's just common practice. I'm going to leave some out here. Now, people were asking, well, why did you leave some on one, you didn't on another? Well, I left it when it was there, but sometimes it's just not there. You see, this one just didn't have an extra limb. And there's a few trees out here that way. But anyway, I hope that answers the question about the nurse limb and why I can cut some of them off and didn't some. I'm sure it looked pretty strange in the video. I know it did because a lot of people asked why. And I've had some excellent questions, and it's been really fun to read the comments and the people that have good questions about this stuff. And but it's also time consuming. Sometimes I can't stay awake at night that late to answer them all, but I do try, and I really do appreciate your comments and appreciate everybody watching this stuff. I hope it's interesting and a bit educational. Okay, see ya. Well, I got 2 rows knocked down there, or half rows actually. These things go all the way through, but that'll give Victor a start. Now, here's one for you. I use a 2-sided can. One has my fuel mix in it, my chainsaw mix in it, and the other side has the oil in it. This side has the oil, and it works out real well. They both run out about the same time, and so that's pretty handy. And I was wondering if any of you would like to take a guess at why it is that I use a piece of wood to plug this one on the oil side, and not only wood but cherry wood. It's a piece of cherry wood. So anybody want to take a guess at why I use a wooden plug to plug the spout on this oil side? And I'll answer it in the next video.